one day I was sitting at a mosque in Houston, and someone came at the masjid and said, there's someone outside asking about Islam. And I didn't know the individual. And so the individual said that person has been in a gang before. And I told him, bring him, tell him to come inside, right? And so here comes this guy, he's like 300 pounds. He has tattoos on his face and a tattoo right here on his neck. And when I look at him, I recognize the guy. I know who this guy was. He was another gang member from another gang that was my enemy before I was Muslim. This guy used to look for me to kill me. When he walks in the mosque asking about Islam and I'm sitting there and he looks at me and he was like, Jay? Because that's the way they used to know me before. I was like, Oso? He used to call him Oso, bear, in the Spanish language, bear. This guy was like 300 pounds. And he was like, you, this? And I was like, yeah. I was like, sit down, man. He had gone to prison 4 years in the penitentiary. He had been run over by a car and he had a metal plate in his leg. He still had pellets in his mouth that they could not take out from a shotgun blast. And he said, man, I'm living foul and I gotta change my life. So he said, tell me about this. I hung out with the guy 3 days, seeing him daily, going and eating with him, picking him up. He didn't have a car at that time. The house he was living in was a house, we call it a crack house here, a house they were selling drugs out of. His family gave up on him. His mother stopped talking to him. Nobody in his corner. And when I was driving, after he had asked questions more and more about Islam, he looked at me, he said, man, I want to be a Muslim. And I said, really? I pulled over in my car and I said, look, man, if you're going to be Muslim, you realize that if you were loyal before to your friends, right, and a gang, you got to be loyal to Allah. You don't play games. You change what you know you need to change, and you gain strength from Allah. And the way to accept Islam, and I explained the Shahada, is by bearing witness there's only one God and Muhammad is a messenger. Do you agree? He said yes. So I gave him the Shahada in my car. When we came back to our community, I gave a talk and I said, what would you do as a community, our Muslim community? If a guy comes in and he has a tattoo with guns and it's skeleton and he's tattooed and he's been in prison and the people are like, A'udhu Billah, you see? And I said, that's a problem. Because right here in our neighborhood where we grew up, those are the people that we should welcome to come to our mosque. Those are the people that are sick, and the mosque should be like a hospital where the sick people like this come. Not just the person who prays 5 times a day and mashallah, you know, they have no issue. I said, come here also. And I brought him up and they saw he had tattoos and all this, and I had him sit down next to me. And I said, tell them how you came here. And when he began to speak and why he came there, people in the mosque began to cry. And the youth began to become amazed. And he said, when I knew him before, I was looking for him to kill him. Now we sit here as brothers.
إني ناديتك وسعيت إني استهديتك فهديت بالقرآن أنرت طريقي